Kafka's upcoming release in Honkai Star Rail is going to put a lot of spotlight on a few of the Nihility characters, as well as, the characters that are focusing on DOT, which is really going to play into her playstyle. But I feel like that's also going to make some other Nihility characters fall through the cracks. And I've already talked on the channel about Pella, but today I want to talk about Welt, because Welt is still going to be a very strong character, even though he doesn't have anything to do with DOT. So I wanted to touch on what he does and what makes him so good and what makes him so useful in comparison to some other characters, just based on the uniqueness of what he does. But before I go any further, if you're enjoying the Honkai Star Rail content and want to see more from me, definitely be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. So, Welt, being on the path of Nihility, he is all about debuffs, like all the Nihility characters are. But, similar to certain Nihility characters, especially, Kafka and, I think Luca will also be a good example of this when they come out. Welt can fill that, sub-DPS role at the very minimum. Kafka's gonna be main DPS for sure, but, at the very minimum, Welt can, fill that sub-DPS role. Because he has ways in his kit that will increase his damage. He just does a good amount of damage, just in general. Now, not only that, but when it comes to Nihility, being all about the debuffs, Welt does fill a unique niche, because his form of debuffs is by slowing down the enemies and delaying their actions. And, while this is an aspect of the imaginary break effect, Welt does this at even higher level than any of the imaginary characters do. So, since he is the only one that really focuses on slowdowns as much as he does, that's just going to make him useful for a long time. So, I'm going to go into a little bit about his kit now, for the aspects of it that have the slowdown. So, his skill has a base chance that'll scale with the level of the trace to lower the enemy speed by 10% for 2 turns, and his skill will hit the one enemy that you hit, plus I believe it's 2 or 3 random enemies, and each enemy that hits is gonna have that base chance to lower the enemy's speed, which will in turn delay when their actions are gonna happen. Then his ultimate has a 100% base chance to imprison enemies for 1 turn. And the imprisonment effect will delay enemy actions by a percent that scales with the trace level, and will also lower their speed by 10%. So you can have 2 different 10% speed reductions, as well as an action delay. And the action delay ends up being really powerful. If you've seen people use Welt, or if you use Welt yourself, you know that, stacking the skill and the ultimate for delaying enemy actions has some really interesting side effects. And it makes it so the enemies don't go for either a really long time, if not, for just the rest of the fight. Then, to top it all off, with all of his slowdowns and action delays, Welt's talent actually increases his imaginary damage against slowed enemies, which is really huge, because it just plays into his kit, right? He's gonna slow them down with the skill. He's gonna delay their actions with the ultimate, and then he'll probably, more than likely, he'll be able to attack again before the enemy does if they're slowed down. So he's just gonna do more damage to them, which is super huge for him. And I think that this is gonna make him stay relevant until we get another character that focuses on slowing down the enemy. I don't know when this will be. So because Welt is super unique like that, I think he's going to be still very good for a long time. He may not have as much synergy with the Kafka team. I actually think it's, he's not going to be that great on the Kafka DOT team, just with the way that DOT works. But I do think, in other team comps, he's going to be a very strong character. And I also want to, point out that with the Nihility characters we've gotten, because, we're about to get 2 DOT Nihility characters in 1.1. We got Silverwolf. And I really just think that Nihility is just, as a path, is going to have very unique characters that focus on different aspects of debuffing, which I think is going to be a really good way for them to make newer characters for it without it feeling super repetitive. Because right now, because we're about to have 6 Nihility characters in the game, I'm pretty sure, and none of them feel like overly repetitive compared to another character, which is a very good sign for what's to come. But with that, I definitely hope, you know, I put y'all on to Welt. I've had a lot of fun using Welt since I got him, since I built him. And, you know, I'm still going to keep using him. You know, I'm pulling for Kafka, but, you know, I'll still probably use Welt because he is my only built imaginary character right now. So, he is definitely super valuable for me. But, yeah, with that, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all next time.